Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. August is in full swing, which means many of you guys have probably already started school or you're about to start. As you're getting used to the new rhythm of things, many of you might be struggling to adapt and adjust to your new schedule, which is why today I'll be sharing 4 steps to starting your school year strong. Timestamps will be linked down in the description box below, and I hope you find this video helpful. Step 1 is developing effective time management skills. The way I see time management is twofold. Part 1 is figuring out all the things that I need or want to do, and part 2 is making the time for part 1. The first part of the equation is the relatively easier part. Once school starts, you start getting flooded with all the homework assignments and other obligations that you have. So in order to effectively manage all these things, you need a good system for capturing all the tasks that you have as a student. This planning system should be used to keep track of all the homework assignments, extracurricular activities, or other obligations and events that you have on your plate. Consider using bullet journaling, Notion, or just a plain old planner. That's what I used back in high school. Just a side note, but when school starts, especially in high school, teachers love giving you syllabuses and all these forms that you have to get your parents' signature for, so make sure that you have a good planning system to capture all these obligations and tasks that you have and just batch complete them one night after you're home. This is a form of effective time management. You're getting everything you need done in one go in one batch. When picking a system to use, make sure that it's easy to use and also accessible during school. If your teacher has something against electronics, I don't think using the Notion app would be the best idea for writing down all your homework assignments for your different classes. Besides capturing everything that you need to do, time management is about, managing your time. If you go on YouTube and look up time management tips for students, you'll find hundreds of videos with like top 10 time management hacks. But you don't need 20 hacks. You need to figure out what works for you. These are the 3 time management tips, hacks, call it what you will, that have worked for me the past few years throughout high school and university, and I hope you find some or all of these helpful. The first tip is priorities. So this is more of a mental thing. If I mentally make it a priority, it will get done, period. For an example, I make it a priority to exercise every single day. And because I value my physical health, I will make time for exercising. Back in high school, I watched a bunch of Chinese dramas, and in a sense, that was my subconscious priority. I kept up with the latest dramas even when I had a whole bunch of IAs and I had my EE that I had to write for IB. Because this was a subconscious priority, I made time for it. Was it the best priority? Maybe not. But we all make time for the things we want to do, which is why my first tip for time management is figuring out what your priorities are. Is it doing well in school? Is it your health? Figure out what you prioritize and which task falls under that priority. Mentally tell yourself that this is a priority to yourself, and you're more likely to get that thing done. Tip number 2 is Parkinson's Law. So if you haven't heard of Parkinson's Law, this is about how work expands to fill the time it's given. Have you ever wondered why you started an essay 1 week in advance while a friend started it the day before it was due, and you two both managed to finish around the same time? That's because of Parkinson's Law. Work expands to fill the time it was given. So you had an entire week to complete the work, so you took the whole week. Using this law, set internal deadlines for the homework you have to complete. For example, if you have to write a reader response journal for a book, and this is going to be a 1-page essay, you usually take the entire day to do it. The next time you have to do this, try setting a timer for 1 hour. Put that timer on your desk, watch that clock, and start working. chances are you're gonna get a lot more done even if you don't finish writing that one-page essay in that 1 hour. You're likely to have worked a lot more efficiently. And this is using Parkinson's law to set time constraints on yourself in order to compress the work into a smaller amount of time and to get more stuff done in less time. In comparison, if you didn't set a timer for this work, you probably would have taken the entire day to write that essay because you knew that you had the whole day. But by setting a timer, you're being a lot more efficient, and this is good time management. Finally, my last tip for time management is planning ahead. Using whatever planner or system that you're going to use for capturing all the tasks you have to do, plan ahead for the week and figure out which days you're going to be doing which tasks. When will that project be due? When do you have to hand in that homework assignment? Look ahead for your week and figure out what you're going to be doing each day. If you're going to be busy on Thursday and an essay is due on Friday, make sure that you plan in advance and get that writing done by Wednesday. Also, break down larger tasks into smaller pieces and do a bit every day. Knowing that you only have to write the intro for your essay is a lot less intimidating than writing the full thing in one go, and by planning in advance, you'll also finish in time. In a nutshell, develop good time management skills to start off your school year strong. This means having a good planning system for capturing all the things you need to do, and also setting priorities, using Parkinson's law, and planning in advance. Step 2 is learning how you work. So this is something that I kind of learned from Brandon Sanderson, who's a fantasy author that I really like. He wrote Stormlight Archive and the Mistborn series and a bunch of other books. And in a speech that he gave back in 2020, he talks about the importance of learning how you work. Ask yourself this: what mind games can I play with myself? Do you work better with a carrot, like a reward, or a stick, like a punishment? How can you make working more enjoyable for yourself? Here is how I apply this to my own work. I mainly study using a flashcard app called Anki, and every day I have a bunch of flashcards that I have to review for the day. Usually I have around 200 to 300 flashcards, and doing these flashcard reviews is not inherently interesting or enjoyable to me. But what I do find enjoyable is listening to music, whether it be piano music or Chinese songs. So I treat studying with Anki like a game. When I have 200 plus cards to do, I need to focus and concentrate, so I work without any music. Once I have less than 200 cards, then I think of it as leveling up. I level up from listening to no music to having some nice piano music. Usually this is a Yuruma playlist that I have saved on my Spotify. After I have less than 100 cards to do, then I level up one more, and I can start listening to Chinese songs that I enjoy. Because I enjoy music, listening to music while I study using Anki is motivating, and it makes studying more enjoyable. For you, it might not be music. Maybe tracking your progress is very motivating. Would it help for you to track how much time you spend working every day? Seeing how much time you spend could be a motivating factor for you to keep doing that. Alternatively, maybe it's building a streak. Maybe you want to build a streak of always finishing your homework before you eat dinner, and you want to maintain the streak. Get out a calendar and put a big red X every time you meet this goal, and try to keep that streak going strong. In general, figure out the best way to motivate yourself to do work. Reward yourself along the way, and as you cultivate these habits around working, school just gets easier. Step 3 is previewing your classes. Know what to expect for each class, and more importantly, figure out the workload for each class. Talk to your seniors and ask them for advice. Ask them which resources were more helpful when they were taking the class, which concepts were particularly difficult, And those concepts, you might want to spend a bit more time prepping or pre-learning the material so that you will struggle less when you're learning it in class. You could also ask seniors how the teachers were. How did the teachers grade? Are they lenient? Is it more important to do well on tests? How about homework? Etc., etc. Additionally, you should also identify potential resources that you can be using during your school year to supplement your learning during class. Maybe it'll just be the textbooks that you're assigned in class, but even this can vary across classes. I remember back in high school, my AP Euro textbook was the main source of information, so I would take notes out of the AP Euro textbook because that was how I learned for the class. On the other hand, in IB chemistry, the textbook wasn't used that much. We would only use it sometimes for classwork or homework questions, but mainly the teacher taught us the concepts and we would take notes off of that. Knowing which resource to use at the very beginning of the school year will help you start off strong, because if you start falling behind or if there's something that you're struggling with, you know what to turn to. And having that to supplement your learning can be very helpful, especially if you also just want to get ahead. For me personally, now that I'm in med school, there's a huge Google Drive full of a bunch of documents, past papers, resources, notes written by seniors, basically a bunch of documents full of advice that's passed down every year. And in the next few days, I'll be digging through that drive in order to identify which resources I can find useful to supplement my learning in year 3 of medical school. I'll mainly be looking for documents with advice written by seniors because these advice documents usually will tell us, okay, which topics are slightly harder to study and which textbooks should we be using to supplement learning, say, head and neck anatomy. And this is the kind of resource that you should be looking for. If you don't have this written advice from seniors, go find someone to ask. Usually, seniors are very willing to help out lower classmen. On that note, however, don't feel overwhelmed or pressured to do a lot of prep work before school starts. After all, teachers know that you're just starting and they will also debrief you about what you'll be learning during the school year. So also just kind of note down what they say in order to get a good idea of what to expect for the rest of the school year. Step 4 is to fix that sleep schedule. I think that having a good, solid sleep schedule is the most important part of student success in school. It's natural that during the summer, our sleep schedule can get a bit wacky because we don't have a set wake-up time because there's no school to wake up for. And we also don't have a set bedtime. But once school starts, I highly recommend that you really get your sleep schedule in order. 8 a.m. classes are going to require your concentration and attention. And 8 a.m. means earlier wake-up times and thus earlier bedtimes. Sleep is also important for consolidating our memories and what we learn during the day. If you don't want to walk around feeling like a zombie, getting enough sleep is gonna be helpful. I've been reading Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker lately, and he talks a lot about why humans sleep and how to get better sleep. One part of the book that really stuck out to me was this advertisement, and I'm gonna read it off here. So, amazing breakthrough! Scientists have discovered a revolutionary new treatment that makes you live longer. It enhances your memory, it makes you more creative, it makes you look attractive, it keeps you slim, and lowers food cravings. It protects you from cancer and dementia. It wards off colds and the flu. It lowers your risk of heart attacks and stroke, not to mention diabetes. You'll even feel happier, less depressed, and less anxious. Are you interested? So, if you heard this advertisement on TV, you would probably be like, alright, that's gonna be some scam. But in reality, what this advertisement is selling is good night of sleep. By getting a good night of sleep, you lower your risk for a lot of chronic illnesses. And you are improving your memory. In general, in order to slowly adjust your circadian rhythm, sleep around 10 or 15 minutes earlier for a couple of days, and do that every couple of days until you've reached a reasonable bedtime. You'll thank yourself for not sleeping at 3 a.m. the next morning when you're trying to concentrate and learn how to integrate trig functions. To recap, Having a strong start to your school year sets yourself up for success for the rest of the year. Start off by having good time management skills and having a reliable planning system. From there, also make sure that you figure out the best way to motivate yourself in order to build discipline and also reward yourself along the way. Make sure that you preview your classes in order to know what to expect. And finally, fix that sleep schedule and go to bed at a reasonable time. If you found this video helpful, check out my other videos here for more tips for students, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!